Hello and welcome to the Executive Pill, the podcast where brilliant leaders from every corner of the world share their secrets to help you lead smarter, influence better, and succeed faster. Think of it as your cheat code to navigating leadership with clarity and confidence. I'm your host, Alex D. Tremble, CEO of GPS Leadership Solutions. And over the past decade, I've had the privilege of helping executives at Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, and small to mid-sized organizations increase their leadership influence, and improve their culture. This podcast is your shortcut to learning what works from the best of the best. And I promise you this, what you're about to hear isn't theory, it is proven strategies that you can use today. And before we jump in, here's a tiny request with such a massive ripple effect. Please, please, please do hit that like button and share your comments below. Why? Well, because we live in the attention economy, and your click is the fuel that powers these life-changing ideas to reach more and more people. Literally, GPS, the Executive Pill is top 10% podcast in the world. And it didn't happen because I did anything specific. It's because of all of you who continue to engage, listen, and contribute to this platform. So thank you so much. Again, you're not just liking a video or an audio, you're literally leading a movement. Now, let's make today extraordinary together. Today we have with us the amazing, and you will see just how amazing she is, Miss Tonya Cornelius. See, Tonya currently serves as the Senior Vice President for Learning and Talent Solutions at, yes, the Walt Disney Company. The big one. Where Mickey Mouse and them. That's where she's at. The crazy thing is that she didn't start there, right? Because no one ever starts at the top. She was a director of executive development and organizational effectiveness at Turner Broadcasting Systems. She was at ESPN at their vice president for development and inclusion and wellness. And so there is the fact that she's held these significant positions within these very large organizations shows that she has the wherewithal to not only navigate her way to have influence within the organization, but also have extremely positive results that not only impact the customer and the organization, but impacts the employees, right? Again, she has this background in wellness that I'm looking forward to just kind of jumping into. And she says this new platform, Your Aha Life, which I know we'll jump into. Look, I'm over here what do you call it, fanboying right now. Let me just bring you into this. How are you doing, my friend?
I am doing well this morning, and congratulations on the executive appeal. Wow, it's incredible, but it's a tribute to you, and you're right. Also, the viewers who like and comment and share this. But Alex, I'm super happy to be with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. And you and I were just, having some dialogue before, and I mean, we initially connected at this conference that we were both speaking at. Oh my God, the Opal Summit, right? Opal
Yes,
Executive
Full
Summit.
Summit. Yes.
Yeah, amazing leaders, VPs, SVPs, chiefs from many different organizations and industries coming together to share perspective and ideas. And I got to sit in the audience before I did my speech. I got to sit in the audience and be in awe of you just rocking the room. And so and if I can tell everyone, after she rocked the room, of course, everyone's like running up to her. It's like a Michael Jackson concert. People are fainting. They're running up to her, just trying to get some sweat or something. And it was amazing to see every single person that came up to you. You gave them your full attention and you were present with that person in those conversations. I guess I'll
Oh,
start us off there. That
thank
is
you.
something I've you are very welcome. I've consistently seen you be present with people. How do you do that in a world that is almost built on speed, on transactions, where it is very easy to say, "Hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, that person over there, I got to talk to them." How do you do that? How do you balance that?
Well, again, thank you for having me, Alex. And I hope that our conversation just flows and goes in whatever direction it takes us. And I'm just happy to be here. But I've worked at it. For the very reasons that you mentioned. We live in such a fast-paced world. There's always something that's trying to gain our attention. And so several years ago now, I realized that in order for me to be fully present with people, with a project I'm working on, with whatever I'm reading, is I really needed to meditate. And so I'm a meditator. And that meditation and mindfulness has really helped me to engage with people. So that's one, just the practice and the mechanics of over and over learning to quiet your mind and to be fully present with whatever is in front of you has helped me not only engage with people, but in the work that I do. But I would say the second thing is I'm curious. I love meeting new people, and so I want to know. I want to learn more about them, and I feel that I learn the most when I am engaging and I'm present. Long ago, I read something that really changed my world about the fallacy of multitasking, and that our brains were never meant for that. And I used to glorify the ability to multitask. And then I read that and it changed everything. And I have, through meditation, through mindfulness, through learning just to be present, I really appreciate and honor my body, my brain, to be a monotasker and to be
Hmm.
try to be fully present in the moment, because that's when I learn the most.
You you bring up this idea of multitasking, and I was literally just leading a executive team building retreat last week, and
Mm,
the idea was brought up about there being, how do you navigate? We were talking about time management, prioritization, and whatnot, and they're like, well,
yes,
we're in a situation in this particular organization where everything is the most important thing. We keep getting more and more and more stuff added to our plate, and that's just our reality, and we have to just do everything. And I understood. I was like, I get it. I hear you. I hear you. I had one guy. I'm gonna do this exercise really quickly so everyone can listen to it. I had one guy come to the stage and make a circle, say a pie chart. I said, okay, tell me what percentage of your day is spent on work and stuff. He's like, okay, that percent. Okay, what else? How about your family? Okay, that percentage. How about walking? How about sleeping? How about commuting? As we filled out that pie chart, we got finished, and he said, okay, so where is your free time? And he was like, well,
yes,
oh, well, I do some reading here. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, so in that time you're doing reading. He said, yeah, okay. So that's not free time then because you're reading. Okay. So where's your free time? And he says, oh, well, I do this over here. And like, well, no, because now you're doing that. And the whole point to the audience was there is no such thing as free time. Every minute, every second of every single day is being utilized doing something. And if we understand there is no such thing as free time, that means when something gets added to our plate, there you don't magically get 26 hours in a day. We still have 24 hours in a day,
right.
and that just means that we either do something, we knock something off our list, or we do it with less quality. Now that's what we do automatically. Now and this is why I'm sharing this. I want to hear your perspective on this. My point to them was that even with all these priorities coming in and everyone's saying how this is the most important, this is the most important, this is the most important, at the end of the day, you are not doing all of them. It's just it's literally impossible for you to do all of them, of everything. You are choosing unconsciously, likely, to knock things off your plate, whether it's spending time with family, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's reading the book, whether it's sleeping, whether it is another project that you thought was important. And so my whole point about this is we have to slow down so that we can intentionally decide what is going to come off the plate and what things we can lower the quality, because not every one thing and everyone deserves 100% of you. So I'd love to hear your perspective because it is in line with that whole thing about like one, slowing down the meditation, and two
Yeah.
is understanding where you're actually spending your time and energy and effort.
Yes, it's so important. You said a key word. It's choices. We all
Mhm.
have 24 hours in a day, and it's we are choosing how to spend that time, whether consciously or unconsciously. And the whole idea is to make more of those decisions consciously. But yeah, and I just wrote a blog recently about making space for more. And in order to make space for more, that means you have to let some things go. So I'm just echoing what you said is we can't just keep piling things on and expect to be effective in
Yeah.
our roles, effective in our relationships, effective in just being who we are. And so I do think it comes down to prioritization. It comes down to the choices that we make and examining those choices. For me, one of the things that I, again, took time management courses, all of these things. But something that stuck with me is looking at my day and mapping my day.
Mhm.
So, not just the meetings that I have throughout the day, but where does professional development fall? And
Mm.
how do I block time blocking, right? How do
Mhm.
I create space for that as though that is a meeting with myself to continue my own learning, growth, and development? I have a time on my schedule for planning where it does allow me just to know that I'm going to have this dedicated time just to think about what's coming up
Yeah.
and to be able to plan effectively instead of these, between 5 or 10 minutes between meetings. But I also have things for like blocked on my calendar that say like connections. These are the
Yes.
times when I want to just get up. And certainly, if I'm in an office, I'm working remotely now, but if I'm in an office, that's when I would get up and actually go connect with others. So some say, do you have to schedule that? I think so, because there's always things that are vying for our time. So in order for us to be in control of our calendar instead of being controlled by it and
Mhm.
being just consciously making the choices of what matters to us throughout the day, then I think time blocking, which is a skill that I learned and I practice, can be quite helpful.
You know what's crazy is that sounds for some people listening to this, they're like, "What do you mean you schedule your connections?" I met
Yes.
an executive years ago who did something very similar. He actually called them coalition building days.
Mm.
And because, if you're going to be an executive and be over large organizations and so on and so forth, like you got to have connections with certain people and coalitions and whatnot. And he would literally have coalition days, but that day he would just go and meet with people and make sure he's keeping those relationships well enough because he knew at some point something was going to happen where he would need to pick up a phone call and call someone, and would they pick up or not depending on how he valued that relationship right now.
In addition to the connections, which is really just getting up from my desk, taking a break, and just walking around, especially when I had my team that was co located with me, because sometimes you can just get into the office or get into your work thing and you can still do this virtually. But you just start to work, and before you know it, it's
Mhm,
lunchtime, and before you know it,
mhm,
it's 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. And have you taken time to even say hello to others, to
mhm.
check on them, to see how they're doing, and all of that? So the connections is something that is, I think, is relationship building with your team
Yeah.
and with your colleagues. I also have these times that are external networking. So people that I have met externally, how many times have we gone to a conference
Yeah.
And we used to collect business cards. I don't think we really collect
Mhm.
business cards too much anymore, but we get each other's LinkedIn's or we do all the things, right? But we never follow up. And so that's a
Mhm.
connection that
Mhm.
we could build that kind of goes by the wayside. So I have just times where I'm focused on reconnecting with my external network. And then I also have times when I want to connect with my internal network. And those are coffee chats. Those are people that I'm working on
Yeah.
a project with. These are people that I'm mentoring in the organization and so forth. So, and I do all of that. I block those times, and people say, well, do you really have time to do the work? And yes, you'd be amazed when you start really looking at your day and how much time gets wasted and how you can recoup that time by being mindful and making good choices over the day. I have found that I'm actually more productive in my work, more present, and more effective when I am doing the work.
You know,
Let me just say this,
oh,
because
please.
I that's the other thing I don't want to do and say, is it easy? Initially, no, it's not easy. And it's something like anything else. It's a muscle that you build. It's practicing that.
Mhm.
But this is part of boundary setting also, setting those boundaries and making good choices over your day. And will it be 100%? Will your day get blown up, some days and you like,
Mhm.
oh, not connections. I gotta change that out for, yes, that's going to happen. It's like anything else. Like when we have a plan,
Mhm.
it's great to have a plan, but it's greater to be flexible and adaptable to the context and the environment and the situations that arise. So it's not to be rigid about it, but it is more helpful to at least start with that plan.
Well, I'll say two things. One, I think the most the 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 most beneficial piece of having a plan is probably developing the plan, because it's the thought process, thinking through
Yes.
what could happen, what do I need to happen, all that stuff, strategy, and what's really important. Like that's the even if you again if it could go awry, but just the process of planning makes you slow down to think, which is again not something that we all do nowadays because how fast things go. So I want to underscore that. I shared a perspective the other day. It was really weird. So this participant in a workshop I was leading asked about, like, what do you do when you're trying to support a staff member, someone on your team, and you're trying to support everyone equally, but for some reason they're just not getting it, and or they don't see or appreciate it. And if that was and if you are a good if you're still a good leader, my response back was, the more I've worked with leaders over the years, I've come to realize that I don't believe in great leaders. I just don't. I believe in great leaders for the perfect situation, the perfect company, perfect team. Um, because your skill, your background, your communication skills may be perfect for this situation, but not for a different situation. How you come off could be perfect for that employee or that leader, but the other person may hate how you do it. And
Right.
so it's all this contextual. And then I brought this idea I heard the other day, was like really weird, that we're all living in a virtual simulation. And I'm like, this is too out there for me. But I decided to listen to it. I know, look, I promise you, I saw it like 4 times before I actually clicked on it. And what the guy said was so spot on, though. He said, the reality is none of us live in the same world. We all live in a version of the world that is crafted by our own unique experiences, by our own cultures, by our own understandings and perceptions of what happened, by our own, like our birth order. Like, even if we think we're treating two employees the same, the likelihood that we're doing something differently to the other person, can consciously or unconsciously, is very high. Just as if you are quote unquote treating both people the same, both people aren't experiencing it the same because they live in their own world and they see. If again, I use this really stupid example, someone could get punched in the face and be like, "Oh, that sucked. Why would you do that?" Someone get punched in the face like, "Oh yeah, let's do this again." Someone gets punched in the face and like, "Oh, my life is so bad." Someone gets punched in the face, "Yeah, it made me stronger." Like we all experience the same exact things very differently. And so, how do
Yes.
you? So with that concept, how do you, as a leader? I have an idea, but how do you, as a leader, try to show up the best for all of your team members and teammates and peers and supervisors, even though you can only control one variable and there's so many variables, again, how they're interpreting it and so on and so forth. How do you show up?
Yeah. Yeah. So let me react to something you said, because there's a quote that I learned when I was going through my coaching certification program. Many people know this quote, but it really struck me at that time, that we don't see the world as it is. We see it
Mm,
as we are. So you're so right. We're all living in our own virtual kind of simulations. But um, so, how, the heart of your question is, how do I personalize my leadership to the context and the person that I'm working with and that is in front of me? And it made me think about a question that I know you asked your guest. Maybe you're going to ask me later. Um, I wasn't always a great leader. I wasn't always a great people leader. And it was because one of the reasons, and I can get into it more later if that question is going to come back around, but um, one of the reasons is that I probably did try to, treat everyone the same.
mm,
And everyone is not the same. Certainly, equity, I think, is important. And equity isn't necessarily about treating everybody the same, it's treating them for what they need at that moment to achieve and to excel and be their best selves. So, there's a course that I took early in my career, because my background and getting into corporate is very different. So I didn't kind of grow up in corporate and grow up into management. My first job in corporate was in management and leading a team and leading people. I had never taken necessarily a people leadership course at the time, but here I was, a training manager. But let me just get to the point. The course that we all have known about for decades, situational leadership,
mm,
taught me so much about um, showing up appropriately and effectively for the situation, and that situation being the person in that situation. And so, how I lead one person on my team may be
mhm,
very different than how I lead another person on my team. Those principles in that course from decades ago, and it's probably still going, are still so applicable to leadership. We call it today personalized leadership or human-centric leadership. But I think understanding that some people need more direction,
mhm,
some people need less direction and more coaching, some people need less coaching and just more mentoring. All of those things, and really assessing, what does that person need in the moment to tackle that situation? And sometimes not guessing about that, but asking the person, hey, this is
mm,
new to you. I usually would stay a little closer and give more direction here. How does that feel to you? Is that what you feel would be most effective for you? I want you to succeed in this project or in this task or in this role. And just modulating your leadership to address this the needs of the person that you're dealing with. So I think I learned that early on and practiced it over and over and stopped just, trying to be this very equalized cookie cutter leader, treating everyone the same because I have such a value around fairness. But fairness is also about treating people the way they need to be treated and leading them in the way that they want and need to be led at that time. So that taught me a lot.
So 2 points because you just said some really great stuff. I love that you did something that's crazy. I don't know. It's just it's unheard of. Why would you even do this? You said talk to people. What? Instead of guessing, we should
Yes,
actually communicate with people. Oh, that's just so out there. But to your point, like generally speaking, like one of the easiest ways to have significant positive improvement is by not assuming that you understand exactly what that person wants, needs, and desires,
exactly.
just having a conversation with them. And funny enough, like one of the most powerful tools that we do at GPS is actually 360s, executive 360 snapshot, and it's because it collects the perception of those individuals working for them. So people say, "Oh wow, that's how they see me." Oh, and even if it's quote unquote positive, I've still seen leaders say, "Oh, they see me as like kind and nice and sweet, but I want to be seen as strategic and influential in this particular area. Like, oh, my behaviors must not be in alignment with how I want people to see me, and so make these changes." So, I mean, to your point, collecting information is before you try to move is so key. I want to underscore something you said, and I want to ask you that question I know you're getting at, because I got excited and I just jumped into this. Though I am a huge fan of situational leadership. I practice it myself, and I always coach the same thing. However, I am I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of what society, or I feel like society has pushed, which says the leader has to adapt to every employee around them. The employee doesn't have to adapt to the leader.
Right.
I mean, we have this new book coming out. Actually, so I'm so excited about it. It's called Leadership Sucks.
Ah,
Sometimes. The No BS playbook for executive leaders to align teams,
that
reclaim
sounds
time,
exciting. That
and
sounds,
scale results.
word cracking open for sure.
And the point being, like, it's hard. I mean, I'd love for you to speak to this if you would, but it's hard to be an executive because yes, you have the title, yes, you have a salary, yes, you have some influence, but just like everyone else, you're human. You have family issues, you have health issues, you have budget issues, you have insecurities. And when something goes wrong in your world, you impact not just yourself, but your team, your organization, your division, your customers, your industry. Like there's a lot of weight
Yeah.
that's on executives that people don't tend to see because they only tend to see them as titles. Can I just get a reaction from you on that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the leadership that I believe in and the leadership that we need today is human-centric leadership. It is recognizing the humanity in all of us.
Mm,
And we're all human and we all have great days and not so great days. And you're absolutely right. Just because I'm an executive or a people leader does not mean I have it all together every single day. And as well as the colleagues that I work alongside or the people who work on my team and so forth. So it is recognizing the humanity in all of us, honoring and appreciating and respecting that. So I think, what you said about it's not just the job of the leader to adapt to all of their employees. It's also, yes, because it's a relationship. It goes both ways.
yes.
The relationship that we are building, and those are the strongest, right? So the connections that we have with the people and really adapting to each other and
Mhm.
understanding how each other likes to communicate and make
Mhm.
decisions, and when they are under stress, how do they tend to react, and likewise to me, and learning that it's a partnership and it's a relationship that you're forming, and so
Mhm.
it takes both sides.
So I'm gonna be honest with you, Miss Tanya. I we're going to do another episode because there's a question I got to slide in here, and I'm not sure if we'll have a time
Okay.
for the other questions.
Okay.
Um, so I've had many leaders on who are currently senior leaders in their organization doing amazing work. Right? I've had those people on regularly. That's what we do. I've also had leaders on who were in very, very senior level executive leadership positions within organizations, and now they've transitioned out. And they
Yes.
talked from a perspective of, wow, I didn't realize like losing all that influence and power was going to have an impact on me. Like I used to be able to pick up the phone and things be happening, but now people just see me as a
Yes.
regular person. I'm just John. So that was interesting. I love for you if you were willing to talk about you're in a transition right now,
Yes.
and I'd love if you can talk about it and what does it feel like to be a leader at this level in transition, where I feel like most people in this situation don't let anyone know. They just go one day, and you have some time. And so, what does that look like? And what has this been? What does it feel like?
Yeah, there's so much I could say there, so we will have to get more time. But I am in transition. I am closing out a beautiful career, a career that has brought me a lot of joy and a sense of purpose and fulfillment, the things I talk about in Your Aha Life. But my role and my career will end with the Walt Disney Company, and I cannot imagine a better way to go out on an illustrious um, career of almost 40 years, spanning, if I count my school teacher days and my corporate days. Um, and it's been wonderful. But I saw a post recently and on LinkedIn, maybe you saw it as well, about the grace with which you pass the baton.
Mm,
We're all going to pass the baton at some point, and we can do it graciously and with generosity and with gratitude, which is where I'm firing from. And to support the next leader, the successor who comes in, and support that successor and the team. And it just is a different energy. So
mhm,
instead of clinging on to a role that you're going to have to let go of, and I'm actually excited about my transition. I feel good about the contributions that I have made to the Walt Disney Company and all of the wonderful companies that I've had the opportunity to work for and be a leader in. Um, but I'm also excited about um, turning the page and starting a new chapter. And this is what I talked about early on in our conversation. To make room for more often means
mm,
that you have to learn to let go. And it could be letting go of something that really is very meaningful to you. Like my time at the company has been very meaningful to me. And I have great friendships and respect for all of my colleagues. But you just know when it's time for you. At least I do. And so in preparing for my own transition, one of the things that I say here, Alex, is really try very much, and this is advice I give to everyone, try very much to not conflate who you are
mm.
totally with what you do,
Yeah.
because that makes it hard to pass the baton, and that makes it hard to let go and move on to the next chapter of your life, which can actually be even more brilliant and beautiful than what you are experiencing now. But I'm looking forward to it. I feel good, and I will move on, and I will in January of next year. And so I do have time. I have time. I'm working on some meaningful work that will take me all the way through the end of the year around mentoring and around resiliency and things like that that really still very much matter to me. And so I'm doing work that matters, but I'm also getting a chance to support my team, my former team, and the new leader and my colleagues in a different way as I prepare for my next chapter, which I'm super excited about, as the founder and owner of Your Aha Life, which I see as a movement of helping people to navigate transitions with clarity, confidence, and authenticity. I know authenticity is a conversation we've had many times before. We'll have to have that again, but I'm excited about it, whether it's my continuing to write. I'm also writing a book, coaching, mentoring others, speaking, and just also spending time traveling and being with my family more. So there are great things ahead of me. And it all starts when I am willing to open myself to the expansiveness of letting go of what of the career that I have had over these years, and I'm very grateful for.
I Again, I didn't get to any of those three questions that what I wanted to bring up. We'll have to do this again.
Sure.
But I want to underscore two points you're making. Just I need everyone to understand. Um, if you're not doing this yourself, I know I can speak for example from experience. I've worked with a lot of organizations, um, and and the grace that Tonya is putting into this transition is not the norm. Um, is what I typically see is people grasping, latching on to the power, to the influence, and to the last possible moment. And unfortunately, that is not beneficial to the organization because right now they have all this time to transition smoothly into another leader in this position to continue serving the customer, the employees, and so on and so forth, like because of her grace. And I also would say it doesn't do the individual any benefit either because I think, as you just said, they're too what they do and who they are is too meshed together that they're trying to keep this on because that is who I am.
Right.
I am the executive. That's no, yes, you are. That is part of you, but you're so much more. And
Right.
I want to bring up the other part you said, which is one of my favorite quotes I learned years ago was every day I've give something of lesser value to gain something of more value. And I was like,
Ah, I
that's cool.
love that.
Yes.
I love
But
that.
what I didn't realize until a few years later is that as you continue doing that, the things that are lesser value are still really valuable. They're bigger, they're huge, they're significant. But in order to get that next bigger thing, you have to say no, you have to say bye. You have to let go of something that was at one time so important to you. But you have to be willing to let it go in order to gain that next thing. And so I love everything you do.
It's
I
the
love
different phases, Alex. It's the different phases of our lives and our careers and honoring each of those phases. I had someone to tell me that, I should try to get out there more while I'm with the company because the day after my retirement, I will stop getting the calls. And I refuse. I refuse to um,
mm,
I refuse to believe that. For some people will stop calling because I won't be connected. Well, actually, I'll always be connected to the
yes.
Walt Disney Company. But because I'm not in a decision making role with
Mm,
the company, so some calls will end. But the relationships that I have built over the years, genuine relationships, which are what I'm most interested in continuing, I
mhm,
believe those will continue because I connect as a person, not just as Tonya, the senior vice president. So I do believe that's another reason why we can't always, kind of live in our role that we
Yeah.
have to engage with people as individuals and get to know each other as people.
Miss Tanya, I want to open the floor. Is there anything you'd like to share with our audience as we begin to wrap up? And then for the audience members, please do me a favor. If you have a question or something that you want her to respond or at least hear from what she shared today, put it in the chat. Please, please, please go and put it in the comment. I know she's going to be reading, we'll be reading this. So, Miss Tanya.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I think I've shared a little bit about my next chapter of your AHA life. So I want to do a shameless plug for your AHA life, which is it started as just this kind of side thing that I did, just writing about personal development topics. And it has grown over the years that I've been doing that as more and more that I express, what it means to develop ourselves and to commit ourselves to growth and development. So your AHA Life is a personal development. I call it a movement. And a part of it is helping people to, it may sound very cliche, but to believe in themselves and believe in their goals and dreams and to go and pursue those things and to have this level of self-belief and confidence and authenticity about the life that they want to create for themselves. And in terms of their career and navigating transitions, because all of us find ourselves at transitions, not just career transitions, but even personal transitions, how to do that with a level of clarity. And that comes to knowing yourself and then confidence and authenticity. And that's the work that I will continue to do, that I enjoy doing. And thank you for allowing me just to speak on it just a bit. And you can just go to yourahalife.com and you'll find a lot more information there.
And if y'all haven't done it yet, please do follow her on LinkedIn. She has a newsletter for your AHA Life on LinkedIn. And
Yes.
I tell you, I've read them. Like, these are really, really powerful articles, advice, the stories. This thank you for putting, to be completely honest, I'll say this, look, you're busy. Like, you're transitioning, but you ain't transitioned. So I know you're super busy. And so the fact that you put so much time and effort into each article, each post, each story you share is a testament to, one, who you are, and two, the value you want to provide to the reader. So thank you so much for not only your writings and what you've done over the years, but thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story. Everyone, you know where I'm going with this. If you haven't already, please do click the like, make sure you comment below. Let us know, what was the moment in today's interview that you were like, aha. Let us know that, because that's going to be some power. You see what I did there?
Yes, yes.
This, again, is going to provide so much really wonderful feedback for us. We know exactly the topics you want us to dive into. Look, as always, I wanted to say thank you to all of you, every single one of you who listen, who engage. I appreciate you so much. As always, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving. See ya. Thanks for listening to The Executive Appeal with Alex Tremble. I invite you to follow The Executive Appeal wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow me, your host, Alex Tremble, across all socials or via email for exclusive webinars, courses, and speaking engagements on continued topics of executive leadership. So until next time, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving.